Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing this like natural makeup look, okay? And also giving you guys like an update on my dating life with some guys that I had been talking to, keyword is had been talking to. Just telling you guys a few stories about that. And yeah, so before we get into the video, go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and follow me on Instagram. It is the prototype underscore. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the video. Okay, so I went ahead and did my foundation and concealer off camera. And my brows are actually now micro shaded, so I kind of just filled them in a little bit because I'm in between like sessions, because if you're familiar with it, you know you have to go at least 2 times. So I just filled them in a little bit just to make them darker. So for primer, I used my Milk Hydro Grip, and then I set it with Fenty Beauty, and I used the color Butter to set my primer. And then foundation, I used my Holy Grail MAC Studio Fix in NC50. And then not foundation but concealer, MAC Studio Fix in NC50 I used for my concealer, and then to prime my lids, which I probably need to redo. But anyway, so that's my foundation that I used today. Okay, so I have 2 dating stories to tell, and like I feel bad for, well, I guess I don't feel bad, but I'm just gonna like any man who dates me from now on, if we don't work out, he's probably gonna turn into a story time. Only if the story is juicy though, only if it's juicy. So I met this guy on Bumble. We kind of like, we hit it off really well on the app, and then we started texting off the app or whatever, getting to know each other. And so when we were texting each other, he brought up, like, he just moved to the Seattle area, and he brought up the fact that he went to like dinner with his cousin who also lives in the area, and also his cousin's friend who was a black woman, and she was saying how men in Seattle don't date darker skinned women. And so he was like, I feel like she's kind of being like dramatic. And so I was like, I'm born and raised in Seattle, lived here pretty much all my life until I went off to grad school like 4 or 5 years ago. And so I told him like, no, that's pretty accurate, like, and we kind of had a conversation about it, and he was like, oh, okay. And so that was one, I wouldn't say that was a red flag, but that was like, okay, just keep that in mind. So he brought color up one time. Mind you, this is a dark skinned black man, okay? So then another time he and I were talking, this is after we went on our second date, I believe. We were really hitting it off, really getting along, and I was kind of like, oh, I really like this dude. Like, I really like him. And I started investing a lot of time, more time into him, kind of like, you know, texting him all the time, talking to him all the time. So we're talking to one another, texting. He was kind of like, well, I was talking to my family about you, and they're going to be shocked because I haven't dated a dark-skinned woman in a long time. And I was like, okay, like, do you have an issue with dating dark-skinned women? And he was like, no, not at all. It's just, you know, I haven't really been around darker-skinned women. And he was pretty much saying that, like, it's about proximity. Like, he hasn't been around a lot of dark-skinned women because of where he had been living, which I feel like is a cop-out, but whatever. Let's not even get into that. And so I kind of just excused it, but I was like, okay, like, why is it that much of a big deal that, like, you're talking to a dark-skinned woman? Like, that, I feel like that doesn't really come up in normal conversations with people who are not colorist, okay? But anyway, I digress. So I ignored that, and then we went on our 3rd date. So we went on our date. We just went out to eat, and then we got something to eat, and then we went to a bar, and everything was fine until we got to the bar, because again, he brought up color again, and he was like, yeah, I was talking to my cousin, and I was like, yeah, me and this dark-skinned girl are really gonna hit it off, and he's referring to me. And I'm like, why are you bringing up my color? And he was like, are you not a dark-skinned woman? And I'm like, okay, but when I talk about you, I don't say, oh, me and this dark-skinned man, just in like normal conversation. Why would I ever in normal conversation say, oh, me and this dark-skinned man, I'm talking to this dark-skinned man? Like, no one does that unless skin color is like inherently an issue for them, right? So We got into a really heated argument actually. And we laughed and like we were like yelling at each other on the street because I was pretty much telling him like that I was really offended by him bringing up color in that he's colorist because he keeps talking about my skin color. This is the second time and third time total that he talked about like skin color, period, especially when it relates to black women. And I don't remember everything because I was intoxicated, okay? But what I do remember is that he was like, this is why black men don't date black women. And so I was like, okay, at this point, like, we're done. And I actually did try to like kind of like move past it, but I just couldn't. Like I could not, and I just left him alone. Like, and then after our argument, he texted me like a few days later and he was like, so did you cancel me? And I was like, yeah, I just feel like we'll be better off friends. And I actually did like a guest blog that I'll leave in the description, a guest blog post talking about that experience if you kind of wanted to read more about it. That was the first time I ever like blatantly dealt with someone who was like, who made color a big deal. Like I've never dealt with someone who like kind of pointed it out like that. And even though it was really subtle and he probably didn't mean anything by it, I truly feel like he inherently like has an issue with darker skinned women. Like for one, you haven't dated any darker skinned women, but you're from the South where most of the black people are. And him saying that he hasn't dated any dark skinned women because of proximity, I feel like that's a cop out. Like there's black people in a lot of places, unless you live in Montana or something, like come on, like we are everywhere, you know what I'm saying? So if you're going to be dating me, then you need to be open to accepting or be open to just understanding what I go through and how I move through this world as a darker skinned woman. And even though you may not completely understand what I'm talking about at first, you at least need to be open to what I'm saying. And if you're saying something, or if I'm telling you that something's happened to me because, you know, my skin color, I don't need anyone to gaslight me or tell me that I'm tripping. And it's not just him being colorist. Like him being colorist is a huge deal, of course. But also like the fact that we were arguing over me telling him that I was offended about what he said. Like I feel like a healthy communicator would have listened to why I was offended and then, you know, would have made, you know, moved on from there. Either you say, okay, I'm not going to do it no more, or maybe we don't need to be dating, whatever. But like the fact that we sat there and argued about me being offended, it's kind of like he's not a healthy communicator, and that would have been a very toxic situation. And I know I'm not like pointing out all the makeup that I'm using right now because I just want to talk, and I'll just leave every like makeup item that I'm using in the description box so you guys know what I use. Okay, so enough about the colorist man. Let's move on to the white man that I tried talking to. I met this white man on Hinge, which is another dating site if you're not familiar. And we actually hit it off really fast. What I like is a man who has a good sense of humor, and he was funny, he was joking, and we got along really fast. Anyway, so we started texting, and he asked me on a date really fast, but I couldn't go because I was going to Cabo. And so when I was in Cabo, I was kind of drunk, and I was like, you know what, I want to FaceTime him. Like, I want to see if he actually like looks like his pictures and shit, because he didn't have social media or anything like that. And so I'm like, maybe this could be a fucking catfish. Anyway, so we FaceTimed. Looked like his pictures. That's fine, whatever. And I was FaceTiming. I was a little intoxicated, so I had a little bit more like liquid courage. I probably would have held off on these questions a little bit longer if I wasn't drunk. But anyway, so I was kind of just like, you know, like we small talk, whatever, ease into the conversation. And then I was like, well, what are your thoughts on Black Lives Matter? And because I have to know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have to know, what are your thoughts on my life being in danger? You know what I'm saying? So his answer was good. Like, there was no issue with the answer. And then I was like, okay, well, have you dated black women before? Because, I don't want this, like, sometimes it's a thing for people. And I said that. I did. Lord. Anyway. And he was like, yeah, I've dated black women before. Have you dated white men before? And I was like, I just talked to them before, but not like dating. And he was like, is it a thing for you? And I was like, no. And so eventually we kind of like got off the phone. And then like the next day I was at the airport. We kind of talked then. And then we never talked again. Never talked again. Like, I didn't text him, he didn't text me. And I talked to a few people about it, and they were like, yeah, you should have done that, blah, blah, blah. But I talked to my mom, and she was like, well, maybe you could have waited on asking those questions. And I'm like, but what, for what? Like, I need to know, as with any man, what I'm getting into, especially a white man, I need to know how he feels about these issues, because you know, a lot of times white people have an issue with the Black Lives Matter movement, and I need to know, just because you're interested in dating a black woman doesn't mean that you're for black lives, period. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happened. Other than that, like, I have not, I'm still logged into my dating apps, and sometimes I'll go on there and like match and like message guys, but like I don't have like, I'm not like interested in meeting them. I'm not gonna lie, like, I do really want a relationship. I really do. But I think it's a couple of things. Like I talked about before in one of my last videos, I really want to move and I want to leave Seattle. So it's kind of like I don't really know where my life will be in the next 6 months or even a year, right? So I'm kind of like scared to invest in someone. Like, say I meet someone. Well, I guess I'm just scared to like invest in someone right now, not really knowing where my life is about to lead me. So that's one thing. And then number two, like, I don't know if I have the capacity to be disappointed right now. Like, dating comes with a lot of risk. Like, you have to risk, you know, getting your feelings hurt. You have to be open to getting your fucking heart stomped on and shit. And I don't know if I have the capacity for that right now. I really don't. Like, it took me, like, with the colorist guy, it took me like a couple of weeks to get over that, even though he and I weren't like talking for a long time. And I'm not saying like to get over him, but to get over the situation. And so I don't know if I feel like going through that again. But I know that eventually I'm going to have to if I want to settle down, which I do. And like, I know people like talk about like how you should be like happy or like try to enjoy being single, enjoy your time being single, but like, let's be clear, like, we're going through another lockdown in Seattle at least. And you know, we might have a national lockdown. Like, and I live by myself, I don't have any roommates. It's kind of like, it's lonely here, you know what I'm saying? I get lonely, but it's not like I'm uncomfortable with my solitude. Like, I have no issue being alone. I was raised the only child. Like, that's not the problem. The problem is that I do want companionship. Like, that's what I want. Not to make me happy. Like, I feel like I'm happy on my own. Like, I'm finally in a place where I am happy by myself, and I don't expect someone else to make me happy. I know that's an unrealistic expectation. And it's an unfair expectation to put on someone else to require them to make you happy. So that's not where I am, but I want the companionship, I want the partnership, I want a family. I'm trying not to get emotional talking about it, because sometimes I be crying about this shit, just to be completely honest. Like, because I get into a place where I'm like, I think I'm going to be single forever. I do feel like I've come a long way, like, as far as like dating goes. There's a couple of things. So I'm good with like identifying, you know, red flags and knowing what is a no for me. Like, with the colorist guy, like, I could have easily given him another chance if I wasn't like, you know, firm in my boundaries and firm in what I do and do not want in a man. And so I'm proud of myself for that. Like, I see a lot of growth. Also, like, with being vulnerable, like, I can see myself like opening up to like other people in my life, not necessarily men, but like other people, like my mom and my friends that are in my life. I'm more like, the walls are kind of coming down, because it's very hard for me to be vulnerable. Extremely hard. Like, I don't like to cry in front of people. Like, I don't like to open up to people. Like, not that I don't like to, but it's hard if I don't trust you. Does that make sense? Or like, even if I trust you, sometimes I don't want you to carry, I don't want to feel like I'm making you carry what I'm about to tell you or anything like that. So like, I feel myself kind of softening up and being open to telling people shit, or like being emotional with people and telling people how I feel. I also like the fact that I'm like open to like not dating right now. Like I can literally, like I said earlier, like I'm literally like, I don't know where my life is about to be. I don't want to invest in someone right now. Like I feel like that is growth, and that's strong to be able to say, because I want to just kind of get where I want to be as far as like location wise, right? So I want to move out of state, and until then I don't really want to entertain anybody up here in the Seattle area. Another thing that I'm doing, like when I do feel myself getting upset about being single, because I do have my moments where I'm like upset, like eyeliner, hold on, y'all, I done bought an eyeliner instead of a lip liner. Fuck. Well, it's gonna be a fucking lip liner today. And it's dark as... See, man, every time I get on this camera and talk to you guys when I'm doing my makeup, I have some fucking, like, makeup mishap. Like, this is the second time. Last time, like, my contour concealer was too dark and it made me look chocolate as fuck. Which is not... Like, it's just too dark for me. And as you can see, I didn't use that concealer today, so to help with my contour. But, like, now... I bought an eyeliner instead of a lip pencil, and it's so dark. This looks black, but we gonna see what happens anyway. Look at that shit. Oh my god. Okay, so I'm gonna blend this out. No, this is not okay, y'all. Like, I gotta take this off. Look at this shit. Where am I off to with this? Black lip liner. No. Okay, y'all, I want to go take it off. And then, like, I found a, like, it's kind of like a dark purplish brown lip liner, which is not ideal for what I'm going for. I'm just going for, like, a nude lip. But it's just going to have to do for now. But even though, like, I find myself, like, upset sometimes about being single, like, the fact that I'm allowing myself to be single and not, like, date people that I know are not good for me and settle is a beautiful thing, because I used to like really settle really bad and get into situations with men that I shouldn't even be given the time of day to, because whether they just weren't kind of like, and I mean nothing by this, but kind of like not on my level, or they were emotionally abusive or anything like that. Like, I allowed myself to stay in those type of situations for too long in the past. And I'm really proud of myself for like sticking to like identifying red flags and not be attached to the outcome of what something could possibly be. Like, I'm kind of just I'm learning to allow myself to kind of just experience people and take the experience for what it is. And even though like the ending of any type of relationship, no matter how, the ending of anything that you're investing your time into is, you know, it can be really emotional. And so, you know, I'm learning to recognize that. I'm learning to just experience shit, not force shit, just let shit be. And I am definitely proud of myself for that, because like I said before, I was not like that. Like, I used to force like situations. I used to just let myself be mistreated, and I'm done with that shit. Like, I am done. But anyways, that's my dating life update. I actually took down my braids and decided to flat iron my hair. So let me show y'all what my hair is looking like. I might, I filmed like the way I flat ironed it, I guess a tutorial. But let me know if you guys, I don't know if I want to drop it. Let me know if you guys want to see how I flat iron my hair. My hair has come such a long way, y'all. Like, it never used to look this good. It feels like a lot more, like, I have thick ass hair, but it feels a lot more full now. Just healthier. It's not gonna stay straight for long though, because my hair cannot stay straight for shit. Like, it, as soon as it feels any type of humidity, it reverts right back. They begin thick. It's like, if I go outside right now, even though it's cold, like, it feels that cold air and it just like reverts. Like, it will start to revert. It's so annoying. It's giving like 90s, early 2000s. And it's also giving news reporter. That's what I feel like my hair is giving right now. This is what it's looking like. I'm happy with the result now. Maybe I'll lay my edges. Yeah, I think I need to lay my edges. Okay, so off camera, I just laid my edges. I used Got To Be hairspray, Got To Be glue hairspray. And I kind of just laid my flyaways down a little bit too. But I'm happy with the state of my hair. Look at this. It looks the fuck good, okay? Look at the hell. Ooh. Okay, let me stop fucking around. This is how it's gonna be, like this. Okay. So that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you're not already, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Okay, and subscribe to my channel. Make sure you follow me on all platforms. I'm at the prototype underscore on Instagram, so make sure you go ahead and follow me there. With that being said, thanks you guys so much for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.